Hey, let me say something nice first of all. That is that the foreground characters are drawn looking pretty good. The background characters, it looks like he's just ripping through this as fast as possible because if you're selling, I guess, 10,000 issues and that's grossing $40,000, so you do the math on the breakdowns. So you got to kind of zip through this stuff, I guess. But you know, it looks like a woman used to look. Anyway, so it kind of sucks making a small video, the day after a big video, because you know, like yesterday's video got a lot of views, and this video is going to get like 10% of those views. But if you just chase the algorithm, it becomes kind of obvious. But I do want to take a deep dive into Tess Fowler in a few days because she's a horrible person who is in no position to talk smack, and there's actually a lot to talk about her with her alleged events that she had to flee to Canada. Allegedly flee. She just happened to move to Canada out of the jurisdiction. I'm not saying she moved to avoid prosecution. I'm not saying that, but you know. Anyway, so I hope Amy Chu isn't anyone's favorite. She's mentioned in the Whisper Network, so I'm going to assume that she isn't on anyone's short list of top authors. I remember I twice criticized this one lady writer, who I won't name again, but she turned out to be friends with everyone in Comicsgate. And everyone that said I was just a total cock-farming douchebag because I criticized their favorite. Those are cruel, hateful words. We are real people, you know. Well, maybe not Nasser. All right, Archie has always been really lightweight comics, but as a kid, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that break from like the serial Spider-Man and Daredevil and that kind of stuff. And if you haven't read the modern Archie and its various offshoots, just don't. It will break your heart to see how mean-spirited it has become. It has gone full, let me say, blonde man bad. Only in comics will you see white motorcycle gangs running around in leather jackets, catcalling women. But welcome to the revolution, comrade. Kelsey Shannon tweeted that he only read a dozen comics that he thought were any good. I said I thought Ironsights and Jawbreakers were better than 99% of anything out there. Comics have been bad for a long time, but I guess comics aren't really made for kids anymore. So I was watching this live stream the other night. It's a bunch of dudes who collect comics, not read comics necessarily, but collect them. Some guy held up a Devil Dinosaur comic that he had bought for the cover. They hold up the covers, they show them off, very cool, but they don't talk about the stories, just the covers. They're collecting the things just to have them or sometimes put them on display. And I wonder how many of these type of guys are propping up the comic book industry. I can't imagine that these 40-year-old dudes are reading Kamala Khan. Maybe tween girls when their feminist mom buys it. Then their mom dresses them up in the costume. They take a picture, send it into the magazine, and it's a whole thing. They cut it out and put it on the refrigerator. Oh, look, I'm in a comic book. These aren't the old days. That comic sold 10,000 issues. Your tweet with the picture got more eyeballs. So, there are 13 issues so far of the peaceful story of Ms. Kamala Khan, the peaceful, plucky hero in America who still dresses like she's from the third world. She had a white boyfriend for a little while, but she couldn't touch him because her brother would honor her. So they had to get rid of him, and they swapped in another peaceful superhero who just happened to be brown. Does Sana Amanat know it's a religion, not an ethnicity? Why not hook her up with a red-headed Irish girl who is also peaceful for a lesbian relationship? Probably because Marvel is not insane and they don't want to be Charlie Hebdo'd. Marvel Comics and comics in general is in this weird space where their comics are for adults but written at the maturity level of kids, and it's always this diverse mix of brown super geniuses who have the superpower of being brown and smart. What's your personality? I'm brown and smart. Oh, yeah, I'm like the fifth smartest person in the world. Well, naturally, you're a little brown girl, of course. But when people read stories, they want to see themselves. Kamala Khan is from Bumfuckistan, so there goes 99% of your audience. So they very wisely have her date an English guy to widen the audience. But then they got rid of him, and they get another dude from Durkistan. That's why you're selling 10,000 issues, for a character that's probably going to be made into a movie. Which reminds me that Disney is going to bring Black Widow to video on demand for like $30, though you're already paying for the Disney Plus. because to open the theaters and make movies again means that we've got to admit that the Wu flu is no big deal. But they think that somehow it hurts Trump to have us walk around in masks. Fine, I wear a skull bandana. I look badass. I don't know if Ms. Marvel has been canceled or what, or if anyone even notices if it was gone. If you make it digital, it would go from grossing $40,000 to probably $2K. Knock yourself out. You're working below minimum wage to make propaganda. But apparently, as we recently found out, working for Marvel means about $20 an hour. Honestly, if I was Heather Antos, I would be a Twitch streamer for simps. Just do body painting or pretend to play video games or whatever it is they do. Archie has always been fluff, but it was sweet. You knew that your kids could read it and they wouldn't have a problem. But of course, it got woke, then it got very woke, then it just became non-stop propaganda that was as subtle as a sex doll. Stories make you think. Comic propaganda tells you what to think. There is no nuance, only one correct solution, and it's the left-wing one every single time. This comic is a fine example. It's issue 12, and I don't know how it made it this far. But in issue 12, it tells the story of an Earthling who has lived on Vampirella's planet his whole life, and he's helping them through an ecological disaster. Global warming, am I right? So he tells them that they just need to listen to the science. So subtle. And before you think I'm nitpicking, this stuff is in all of mainstream comics. He's an immigrant, and he is so helpful. Totally not a burden on the taxpayer. Absolutely not out there committing crime. The vampires keep telling him how because he's lived there so long, he is a part of them. He is of their people. So that Amy Chu is basically saying, open your borders and be enriched. No thanks, Amy Chu. It's just I've been here so long, I barely remember Earth. Okay, it's not like a DACA analogy or anything. He doesn't become a vampire because of his geography. He's a different species. He will never be one of them. But he immigrates to their home and he improves it. All they know how to do is lay it on thick. Another weird thing, everyone is half naked and sexualized. They've got a BDSM theme going on, combined with the bat wings to add in the satanic touch. Plus there are rivers of blood. The whole thing feels like an adult film set in hell. So the lead chick, matriarchy, just abandons her throne, and the Earthling, who's not a vampire, takes over the throne and rules the planet. Dude, this is so fucking lame. The narrator, Amy Chu, says that blood is not what makes one belong. Yeah, it is. It literally is. The English are diverse from the Chinese. If they mix, there's something new that start at year zero, 1984's eternal present. They're accepted by neither tribe, no culture, no history, and just rootless and dying. Assimilation takes hundreds of years of slowly mixing. What is happening now to Europe is not going to end well. And yeah, I'm bringing politics into it because the whole story is about globalism and environmentalism. The human says his future is on Vampire's planet. He's going to die alone there. How is that a future? Can he even interbreed with them? The story is just Amy Chu's globalist fantasy about open borders. She says, the universe is home and belongs to everyone. That doesn't make sense. It contradicts all human behavior for the past millions of years, as long back as you want to consider them human. Humans fight for area. The fighting improves the groups. It makes them smarter and more efficient. Even plants battle each other for sunlight and minerals. This is just Pollyanna New Age nonsense. Everyone owns everything? That's just commie BS. Even commies know it's BS. It's really dumb to see it in a story. It's not where we're born that determines who we are. Dude, stop. This is nonsense. Humans will never live in harmony. If they did, they would go extinct. They would be dumber than turkeys. Even turkeys fight each other for mating rights. You agree with my body, my choice, agency over yourself. You live behind locked doors because they're predators. Nations are protected by borders. Otherwise, the more aggressive people will take over and either kill the other group or simply outbreed them. Sweden is only Swedish if it has genetically Swedish people. Earth doesn't want space vampires. They are literal parasites who will suck your blood. No, Amy Chu. And this kind of art is really quickly done. This is not very good. I think they try to pass it off as the stylistic choice, but if you look through this whole thing, it's very, very quick. Because, like, what are they splitting? 40K gross? I don't know what percentage of that goes to the team. I think it's about 10%. So you've got that $4,000 split between, I don't know, 4 people. It's not a ton of money. So I don't know how much time you've got to dedicate to putting this kind of thing. Anyway, when she writes a joke like that, like, is that a double entendre? I kind of feel that it is. Oh, and a Netflix reference. And then they do a half dozen covers, or more than a half dozen covers for some reason. The best part of the comic was the ending. And I don't mean that to sound like that. I mean because they get lost in a little wormhole and they go to some other space and time where apparently you've got the most valuable members of your society are young women of breeding age. Because they carry on the species, so she decides to put them in the role of soldiers, putting them at risk. Because no society has ever done that. Because it just logically it doesn't make sense. You want babies for the future, so you send the men off to fight. Anyway, this sucked. Like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I'll see you all next episode.